Welcome back. It's good to see you. Now I know it's been a little bit, but I appreciate you sticking with me and stopping by today. I am sorry for the lack of uploads, but life has just been busy. But although I've been busy, it's given me a lot of time to get very familiar with the product that we're looking at today. And yes, it's another keyboard. It's the Logitech MX Keys Mini. So I'm not going to take up too much of your time on this one. It's a very similar experience as the full-size version, which I reviewed earlier this year. I'll leave a link to that video in the description if you're looking for the full-size version of this keyboard. Overall, I really love the keyboard, but the number pad, which I never use, just made it take up too much space on my desk. So the Mini is actually the keyboard I've been waiting for Logitech to make. So as you can see, it resembles a footprint closer to the traditional Apple keyboard that we're used to seeing, but it still has all those things that you either love or hate about other MX keyboards, like the membrane keys or the recessed keycaps. I personally still think it's one of the most satisfying keyboards to type on, and more importantly, is less fatiguing over longer periods of use. It only sits at one typing angle, but that's probably the best angle for it anyway, and it rests on top of what I assume is all the battery hardware of the keyboard. And that's also where all the weight is, so it's not perfectly balanced if that's something that matters to you. And I think just because of the weight, it's not the ideal travel keyboard, but it's much more manageable than the full-size version. And if you're okay with the weight, I would guess that it would fit in the most reasonably sized computer bags. So the build of this model is all plastic, but it doesn't feel cheap. It still feels very rigid and overall feels very well put together. So from personal experience, I've gotten about 2 weeks out of the battery life on this thing, using it about 10 to 12 hours a day with the backlight on. Logitech advertises 10 days of battery life with the backlight on, so your mileage may vary there. But if backlighting isn't your thing, Logitech advertises a 5-month battery without it. Alright, let's go ahead and move on to some things that I consider to be downsides of this keyboard. And the first thing that I have to mention is that it doesn't come with Logitech's unifying receiver. I personally use Bluetooth, so it doesn't apply to me. Apparently it's lower latency and a more reliable connection, but you don't get one in the box here. So that's an added expense on top of the keyboard, unlike the other models in the MX lineup. Now really the only thing that I don't care for personally are the function keys. I feel like they really missed the mark with those custom function keys. Of course you get things like volume and brightness, but they've also added things like dictation, an emoji keyboard, a mic mute button, and a screenshot button. It's almost like they assume that everyone who bought this keyboard is using it for Zoom calls. But I mean seriously, Logitech, what are we doing here? They advertised the keyboard for creatives, and these are the function keys that they landed on. What I personally would have really liked to see is just a standard row of function keys. And then either along the left or right side add 4 custom buttons that work like the Stream Deck buttons do. And if you don't know what the Stream Deck is, what's unique about it are the little screens that are on each button, which allow you to not only customize what they do, but how they look, and they can be changed on a per application basis. I feel like that's a perfect match for what Logitech was trying to do with the Options app, but it would also allow for more personal customization of our own function keys. And hopefully that's where we're headed from here. But despite that little fumble on the 1-yard line, I still really enjoy typing on this keyboard, and I guess at the end of the day, that's really what matters. So going forward, I think this is the one that's going to stay on my desk, and I also think that I'm done with buying keyboards for a little while. And that just about wraps things up. If you've made it this far, I really appreciate you sticking with me. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you found any value in this video, pressing the like button really helps, gives this channel a chance to grow. And if you'd like to see more, subscribing is always an option too. Alright, I'll catch you in the next one. Later.